Let's go to Revelation 2, verse, let's go to verse 24. 24, just to save a second here. This message is entitled, What Fight, What War, What Enemy, What Devil, What Are You Talking About, Pastor? Don't you know that everything is okay? Oh, yeah, I mean, the economy, it'll rebound because it always does. And the things that are going on in the church, it's okay. We ebb, we flow, different things. It's going to be okay. And that other issue that you had been talking about, well, I think, if you just get on some medication, you'll be okay. And then, we'll all just learn to get along. There's an old song I enjoyed before I came to the Lord, and it was by the group Chicago. It was called Dialogue 1 and 2. And it was a dialogue, of, don't you see what's going on around you? And the guy says, no, the campus here is very free. Everything's fine. And in our own little world, we make everything okay. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, that's something that I think is good to do, because there is so much going on around us. The things that we are in control of, well, we should make sure that they don't have control of us, and then our lives are better. We're more comfortable in the things that are going on around us. But that doesn't mean that we should then close our eyes to everything else that is happening in the world, especially in what's called Christendom. Because today, and I've said this for years, you take a look at in Acts 2, verse 42, and it gives you the foundation of the New Testament church. It tells you what the apostles had done and the result of those things, the coming together, the breaking of bread, and the fellowship together, and all those wonderful things which are the foundation of the New Testament church. And then you look at the New Testament church and you say, I don't see it. We look at the works of Jesus. We look at the fervency of people like the Apostle Paul, or the humility and then the absolute gumption that people like the Apostle Peter had. When Peter came back and started to serve the Lord, there was a guy that was on fire, and he was always the one to open his mouth first. He was always the one to comment first. He was always the one to offer his view and opinion first. And then when he slipped away and Jesus forever lives to make intercession for us, he says, I have prayed for you that your faith wouldn't fail, and when you come back, you'll strengthen the brethren. And when he came back, he did. He strengthened the brethren just tremendously. And we have such wonderful words. The first sermon by Peter over there in the early part of Acts, either Acts 2 or I think it's Acts 2. That we have these things. These are wonderful things, but we need to see what is going on around us in Christendom, because we've got a big old devil out there. I always think of him as a Pac-Man devil. Now, that's as far as my digital mind goes. Years ago, they had that Pac-Man thing that just wanted to gobble you up. But my Pac-Man thing is like this, and it's just, it's just right behind me. I know what's behind me. And that thing's just a nip away, as I continue to try and go forward. And I know that if I were to drink alcohol, I have that type of temperament or personality that if I wasn't saved at this time, I'd be dead. But if I wasn't dead, I would be the president of AA or one of these other places, because I can't do that. I can't drink. I don't like alcohol. And so when I did drink, I drank for the effect, not because I liked it. And so I would have to stay away from it, or it would get me in trouble. I don't gamble. I don't dare put a quarter in a machine. You say, well, are you not strong enough? No, I'm not. So I don't do it. And with Jesus in my life, I need him as my crutch. I need him to help me day by day in my life. I am not strong enough against some of these things. I admit it. But with the Lord, I am. And these are things that I just stay away from, because I know they are detrimental to me. But I know that. Do you know that? Now, you may not be the same temperament or personality that I am, and maybe you can socially drink. You shouldn't, but I'm just saying, maybe you do. But you have other vices or other things. We're all the devil knows us very well, and he knows how far to push us before we wake up. And so we somewhat, Paul tells us that, the night is far spent, the day is at hand. Let us lay aside, I think it says, the works of darkness and embrace the garment of light. And we need to wake up and find out that there is something out there that wants to hurt you and your children and your family and your job and every blessing that God ever gave to you, this devil wants to destroy. And he works tirelessly to do it. They don't sleep. They don't rest. They don't need to. And 24/7, they try and contrive, come up with something to hurt you. And they know what you like and what you don't like. They live either in you, they do live in you, and they live around you. And they'll tweak you here, and they'll tweak you there, and they'll to get you to maneuver you to do something that they want you to do. And if you don't recognize that, then you're just going to live a defeated life as a Christian. You're never going to go anywhere with the Lord, and the only thing you'll do is with either envy, which I hope you don't have, or with some kind of dream, you're going to read these old-time books where God blessed his saints and they did exploits for him, and you can only read about it in a book. Now, if that's the type of Christian you want to be, that's fine. But there's more to our salvation than just the salvation bus. The bus is continuing to go forward because our goal, we've got heaven. Now, you may not believe in eternal security, and that's not been a message for this workshop. It's my favorite topic. And I can't explain, there's still like a verse and a half that I can't just really explain. I can explain it, but not 100%. But all the other verses, and there's a lot of them, I can show you most of them aren't even talking about salvation if you put them in their context. But you can't lose your salvation, and thank God you can't, because if you could, you would. And what sin is it that's going to separate you from the Lord anyway? The Father says, Jesus said, all that the Father's given me, I'm going to lose none. Now, how do you equate yourself more than none? If you belong to I don't know if I belong to the Lord, then make sure you belong to the Lord. Get yourself a post, get yourself a paint can or something, and stand someplace and get saved, and then spray it, or, and then when the devil tells you you're not saved, go back. No, this is where I got saved. I remember. Listen, when's the last time you talked to the devil? Who? The devil. Yeah, I've heard of him. He's my church teaches that he's not really real, okay? He's more of like a figment or like a shadow of evil. He's not really real. 60% of the evangelical church today, in the latest survey, the latest Barna survey, teaches that not only, but 60% of the evangelical church does not believe that Satan is a real person. They say he is just a shadow or a figment of evil. 60% of the evangelical church, that's the born-again church. Wow. Only 50% believe that the Holy Spirit is a real person. I mean, it's amazing. What are people being taught today?